Okay, so the first thing I wanted to get into is something a little different. Normally we watch a lot of videos on Tinfoil Tuesday and make fun of them. But right now, I got something special. I showed some of you earlier on stream, but if you were just getting here, this is something I ordered from Amazon. It's still available if it's something that interests you. It's written by Giovanna DeSantis. No relation to DeSantis, I would guess, based on the different spelling. And it's a hardcover book, which I was surprised that this came in hardcover. Poetry in the time of Trump, Q, COVID, and the Great Awakening, as we waited for truth and disclosure. This is a book written by a QAnon believer, full of their poetry about QAnon. So let's dive right in and take a look at, there are 91 poems in here. We're only going to get to some of them. Obviously, we're not reading many. But I did want to share a little bit of this with you. Now, if you're looking for a rhyme scheme, bad news. This is more spoken word than rhyming poetry. There's not really an A-B, or any sort of rhyme scheme. Occasionally, there'll be random rhymes, but there's no real rhyme or reason to the rhymes, if you know what I mean. So let's take a look. We'll just look at some random ones and see where the insanity goes. Poem number 28. Lament of silent voices who said nothing when it mattered. Nightmarish dreams and daydreams that are potentially volcanic. Visions just under the surface. The sensitive awaken, screaming in panic. Human trafficking profits have surpassed drug and weapons running. God's people are not commodities. Stealth perpetrators are very cunning. Blood money, shell companies, numbered accounts. This is gigantic. Modern day slavery, Trump ruined their plans and tries to expose the maniacs. The secret glue that holds Hollywood, government, and business together. A huge pedophilia ring. Purity stolen. Captured childhood. CNBC says nothing. Back chambers. Taste for drug trafficking profits. Exposure would be epic. Worldwide pedophilia rings broken up. Code of silence. Epidemic. See what I mean? How randomly it does rhyme? Seems kind of weird. MS-13 snatched children off the streets. Nice bounty while we were sleeping. Thousands of children disappear each day, yet there's no one speaking. Whisked far away, sold and resold, guerrilla warfare tactics. Become negotiable instruments, battered, bruised, bleeding, unapologetic. Unbelievably, Ruth Bader Ginsburg suggested the age of consent be 12. Horrifying! I don't know where that claim's coming from. I can't really speak to the veracity of that claim, but I'm gonna put doubt. I'm gonna put asterisk doubt on that particular claim. Hold on, I'm gonna take the headphone out while I do this because I don't need to be wearing it. Abortion lowered every bar. Sanctity of life, disregard God's own genetics. Undiscovered masterpieces deserve our protection, each child unique and authentic. Right up until birth, painful dismemberment, we must end this suffering. Stop at adamant and perverse justifications. God will never sanction child killing. Just so you know, there is a part in the Bible, in the Old Testament, where God literally explains how to do an abortion if your white wife cheats on you. You can Google it, just so you know. It's weird that these people seem to have never actually read the Bible, even though they use it to justify all their actions. It's interesting. Black market babies of profitable crop, smuggling children, heartless and tragic, child sex trafficking tourism to Ukraine, hidden from the public, utterly barbaric. Kickbacks spread around the world to maintain secrecy, really stunning, household names protected, clandestine deals underground, CNN says nothing. People are going to get bingo in the first minute, I know, right? Jeffrey Epstein knew the weakness of many men, and some women too, was pornographic. Every sexual taboo allegedly filmed on his island of thrill-seekers and fanatics. It's a secret club. We're not in on it. They do the most unimaginable things. Innocent blood is their currency. Youthful adrenochrome from them is everything. Let's take a break and take a look at some bit messages while we're in the middle of this poem. Morok with 100 bits says, I mean, VHS kinda sucks, but there are a few series that I feel the low quality adds to the effect. Retro Cyberpunk series, Serial Experiments, Lane, I have on VHS and Blu-ray. The Blu-ray's picture is almost too clean. It's a gritty, grungy series, and the low picture quality with stretch lines of VHS almost works better. From a visual standpoint, Procogam says it rhymes if you decode the secret messages. Overthought says, a regular B.S. Eliot. God damn it. That's better than any joke I'm going to tell today. Nick says, this reminds me of this old FARC headline. Principal caught say of school that has stopped handstanding. See, told you so. Is he dead or not? CNN says, yes. St. Pete times looking for Chads, or hello, I am right single to salute and wait for answers again. Am I having a stroke? Tucker White says, Maya Angelou and Walt Whitman ain't got shit on these Q poems. Sky Comet Fallen says, what's the core of this poem? You have to take a central point to circle around. This is not a poem, it's a stream of thoughts. Oh, you're gonna love the rest of them then. They're all this. Briar Rose 1984, thanks for 13 months, says, thanks for all the content and commentary. Hope the next year is even better. Tucker White says, by the way, here's a quick list of times God's okay with killing crotch goblins. Yeah, God literally sends bears to kill children at one point in the Bible because they called a guy bald who was bald. Someone posted it. Oh shit, they did greenlight a Quantum Leap reboot. Fuck yes. Steve with the Q says, are you sure this wasn't just written by an AI trained with QAnon posts? I'm sure. Alright, let's continue. Vampire bloodsuckers, the lengths they go to torture children sweet and angelic. Cannibals devour God's people like bread, never look, it's disgusting and graphic. Pedophilia, church priests exposed, blamed on celibacy, most still believing. Systematic evil, satanic rituals in the catacombs, the Vatican says nothing. The cult of Moloch sacrificed little children to this demon throughout history. Horrific, alive and well, not just ancient Bible stories feed his power, so pathetic. Depraved cult followers receive great wealth and earthly power. The exchange is sickening. Rats and roaches must be prosecuted. Consent through ignorance is the same as agreeing. We must not allow our children to be defiled and killed. It is just satanic. Their blood cries out on our hands if we do nothing. Listen to the prophetic. Children are the purest form of human life. Our hope gives future meaning. Choose this day. Whom will we serve? Why are so few questioning? Maybe because you're fucking crazy. That could be why. Where did the children go? Are we willing to protect the vulnerable and keep evil in check? Trump fought for God in plain sight. He stepped into a world of havoc. Speak up. Be counted. Holocausts still happen. We've been too silent through conditioning. Warrior protectors outnumber the scum. Let's pray and leave the wicked trembling. Use our voices to defeat the monster in our midst. This problem is titanic. Life is sacred and fragile. We have a duty to God and we're patriotic. Men, women, babies are our national treasure. Let's save them with rejoicing. See them loved, warm, nourished, and safe. Chosen and cherished. Lives worth living. That's one poem. That's one fucking poem in this book. Good lord. It's just rants in semi-poetic form. It's QAnon rants, but in spoken word poetry. It's insane. I gotta read you the foreword in this too, because it's pretty enlightening. This is the dedication, actually. Here's the dedication. Yeah, that was one poem. That was all one. There's 91 in this book. Dedication. With gratitude to my daughter, Christina Bellina, the family member who did not scold. Which implies to me... that a lot of her other family members did not approve of the writing of this book or found it strange. Many thanks to my dear friend Cynthia, my best beta reader and and encourager, who listened to poems in their many revisions read aloud during our frequent 6:30 a.m. phone calls. Who's on the phone at 6:30 a.m., you goddamn psycho? With appreciation to our 35th and 45th presidents, John Fitzgerald Kennedy and Donald John Trump, who knew what they were getting into and did it anyway, out of the love for every American and for this great nation. A big thank you to Q and non-classified military information Q drops that encouraged us to, quote, dig deeper. Thanks to all Anons and other fellow truth seekers who support one another as we tried to find the truth. To the millions of normies. This book has the word normies in it. To the millions of normies for whom disclosure will come out of nowhere and shock them, I'm sorry for your pain and disillusionment. I wrote this little poetic time capsule for you to help you see the light that you were not quite ready to see. Soon there will come a day of no more denial, and we truth seekers are here to hold your hands and commiserate. Afterward, we will walk into a brand new world, the one God intended for us, together. So she legitimately thinks, that, like, this is gonna be some big book after it all comes out when the storm happens, and that, like, people who didn't, understand will be coming to her and being like, you understood and you're such an amazing poet, thank you. It's pretty funny. Let's read the last poem. We'll dip into this, I think, from time to time on stream, just because I find it interesting. Let me do some bit messages first. Real Rad Hum says, genuinely surprised by the free-form beat stylings of Jack, Karak. Rachology says, Poetry Cleanse, poetry from the Aztec Empire is recorded in the Florentine Codex, recommended poem 2, Flowers Are Our Only Garments. Let me see. Flowers are our only garments, only songs make our pain subside, diverse flowers on earth. Oh hooya. Perhaps my friends will be lost, my companions will vanish when I live down in that place. I yoyantzin, ahoye, in this place of song and life giver, ahoye. I'm sure I'm butchering this, I apologize. Does no one know where we are going? Do we go to God's home, or do we live only here on earth? Ah, ahoya. Let your hearts know, O princes, O eagles and jaguars, that we will not be friends forever, only for a moment here, then we go to Life Giver's home. Ahoya. Interesting. What else? Nick with 45-bit says, also, friendly reminder that the Boston Bruins are retiring Will O'Ree's number tonight, the first black NHL player. Tucker White says, at least these Q-fucks acknowledge priests effing children. What's your excuse, Francis? Ashy Boo says, I forgot this was supposed to be poetry for a second. It just sounded like delusional ramblings. I mean, they're not mutually exclusive. Sky Comet Fallen says, who's on the phone at 6:30 a.m.? Adderall abusing meth heads? Ashy Boo says, even if QAnon people were right, when we all found out about it, they'd definitely be assholes about it, for not to mention wanting any of us dead. Not holding our hands or whatever nonsense, yeah. Okay, let's look at the last poem. Why Democrats Lost 2021. I don't know if she means 2020, but she wrote Why Democrats Lost 2021. Parenthood is the highest undertaking. Dedication, sacrifice, and being present. Parents have felt too secure, surrendering their authority to schools and to the government. Around the country, teachers tried to prohibit parents from overhearing computer learning. Some wanted a ban. Parents finally got a bird's eye view of what children were being taught when Zoom classes began. McAuliffe said, I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach. Parents do not consent. It only takes a moment to change a thought. Parents started waking up. And that was the pivotal moment. Merrick Garland set up dedicated lines for reporting to criminalize traditional parenting, curb freedom of speech, fear the government, snitch lines to report parents who attend school board meetings. Okay, so, no, that line was set up for the QAnon people and anti-vax people who are literally going to school board meetings and threatening members of the boards, like threatening their lives and saying, I will kill you if you do this, if you make mask mandates or vaccine mandates, I will kill you, which is a terroristic threat. Loudoun County knew all along of a transgender R-word of a 14-year-old in the girls' school bathroom. The superintendent lied, knew the day it happened. Emails proved he was wrong. Hidden, he assumed. I have no idea what she's referring to here. Countrywide outrage, covering up his failures to report to the public is a crime. Schools are also lying about teaching white racist curriculum, critical race theory, meantime, prices up, gas, energy, used trucks and cars, higher by double digits, also food, clothing, and transportation. The media drives false narratives away from real-life problems, give less important things all of the attention. What twisted minds concocted white privilege, supremacy, rage, terrorism, and white fragility? Oh yeah, this doesn't strike me as white fragility at all. Cast aspersions and assumptions we don't love or want to be loved by all races or be neighborly. Shouts of privileged, enraged, superior, fragile terrorists. They disparagingly call us out. Paint an accurate picture of what the shouters themselves are. Inversion is what they are really all about. Chaz was occupied last summer in ultra-liberal Seattle. Their newly elected city attorney is a Republican. Laugh. Out of office. Minnesotans who want to defund the police choose to put an end to it as soon as it began. James Carville is a rare liberal voice who tells it like it is. Said, stupid wokeness is to blame. Out of context, poignant quips defund the police lunacy. Need to go to a woke detox center. They're insane. Pull the pin and watch the grenade go off. Let them destroy themselves in Virginia was a Youngkin strategy. Wokeness is a problem and everyone knows it, but they don't want to say it out loud, said he. The silent majority is no longer silent. Parents are pulling their children out of schools. Moderate voters of both persuasions are sick and tired of far-left mask and vaccine progressive rules. Thank God for Mama and Papa Bears, irrespective of voting history, have come out of hibernation. Awakened, they are putting the brakes on teaching CRT, gender fluidity, and saying no to indoctrination. The most profound gift we can give our children is protection of their future from each and every parent. Our power is in numbers. It is up to all of us stand up against evil to keep all children safe and content. Unless they're trans, apparently. Then they can't be content. Ashy Boo says, even if QAnon people were right, when we all... Oh, I read that one. Sorry. Probably Cthulhu says, Hannah mentions cheese. Did I? Meek says, the person she referred to wasn't even trans. Gotcha. Lily Lovestuff says, OMG, it was a cis guy who R-worded a girl in the classroom in Loudoun County. I'm from the county over. Oh, Jesus Christ. Tucker White says, yeah, let me tell you why Dems lost in 2021. The Biden administration did fuck all to help families in dire financial straits and all but forced children to return to in-school learning in the midst of a pandemic. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I agree. H. Baird says, have you seen the new Republican conspiracy theory that the government is refusing to give white people COVID vaccines? They must really need their voters to stop intentionally getting sick. Hey, they can do what they want. I'm at that point. Rageology says 91 poems of I'm not bothered, actually. Yeah. Oh, they were trying to get me to say cheese? Yeah, that doesn't count. If I'm just reading your thing, it doesn't count. That's probably enough for today. I just wanted to... No, I'll read one more. I'll read one more because this one's title is pretty good. It's called Paul Revere's Minutemen Meet Flynn's Digital Soldiers. We'll read this and then we'll move on. Listen, my child. Oh, God. She's cribbing from... She's cribbing from Paul Revere's Ride. Oh, no. Thanks, Henry Longfellow. Listen, my children, and you shall hear. Bribes worked so well for years and years. For those who don't know, this is an allusion to the famous poem about Paul Revere. Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. It's a quite famous poem written about that historical event. Listen, my children, and you shall hear. Bribes worked so well for years and years. Stopped getting their way, the crazy banshees aimed for mass casualties to start World War III. This is the closest to an actual rhyme scheme we got, and it's probably because she stole it directly from another poem. One if by land, two if by sea, stolen nuclear bombs, Colorado, Kansas for scene. Destroy legacy, trust, and land records 2 centuries. Would blame Iran for the toxic debris. Centuries and debris, that's not even Emily Dickinson would be like, that's a little too slanted. I'm not feeling that one. Ready to ride and spread the alarm, courageous men and women right to keep and bear arms. MLK Day, gun rally, Virginia, impeachment trial the next day, the mother of all false flags, deplorables locked away. Oh, no, she lost it. She lost the rhyme scheme. The sound of arms and the tramp of feet, symbolic bullet pens, impeachment, Pelosi's elite conceit. Has Virginia Northam of abortion blackface infamy found a way to trap the nation's patriot infantry? Okay, so the rhyme's back. Lonely and spectral and somber and still, by any means necessary guns, veterans they'd kill. No fair play, different set of rules, deep state devotees have us trapped in an orbit that we cannot see. The fate of a nation was riding that night. Minutemen, ride your computers and Twitter tonight. Mirror, pretend MAGA patriots would be in disguise, sent by wickedness in high places to assure our demise. And so through the night went his cry of alarm. Stay away, it's a setup, many of you may you come to no harm. Protect your loved ones in your community. Save strength to fight evil with your longevity. A cry of defiance and not of fear. Intercepted bombs to coincide with protests. Threat no longer severe. How dare they defame Martin Luther King Day? Not redcoats, but turncoats, traitors who betray. In hour of darkness and peril and need, favorite pastime of deep state, escalate war and make us bleed. Look here, not there, they kept us distracted. We fight with prayer as God's children, the good news will be spread. So again, written by a QAnon believer, it's absolute rambling nonsense. Those are some excerpts. It's quite funny. It just comes off as incredibly delusional. Surprise. Again, that's Poetry in the Time of Trump, Q, COVID, and the Great Awakening by Giovanna De Sanctis. Creepy cover. Not gonna lie. Very strange. Let's move on.